Okay, now we're preparing to live stream.
Okay, cool.
Wonderful. I have stuff for that too.
All right, we're ready to go. We're live.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, we're live on Zoom. Everybody ready? Death has taken our beloved Myron Klein. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence, there is lamentation. In their tears, there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, be with them. For Myron's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we turn to our sacred scriptures, which give us the message of God's nearness. And we know that his Judaism was so important to Myron. And so we turn to these words, which are our way of talking about the mysteries of the universe. From Psalm 1, happy are those who have not followed the counsel of the wicked or taken the path of sinners or joined the company of the insolent. Rather, the teaching of God is their delight, and they study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water that yields its fruit in season, whose foliage never fades and whose fruit always flourishes. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan va'Adonai lakach, yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai Natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn broken hearts into an altar of trust, before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and love, as we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Blessed be the name of God now and forever. We take a moment in silence. Imrefi v'hagyon libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Aaron, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. If you don't mind. Oh. I'm going to save a lot of the good material for a memorial service, I think, at some point. Hope you forgive me, Dad, but there's more to come. Um, in a time right now where we all have to keep a social distance, I just feel that anybody who knew Myron or loved him is not keeping distance right now. I just have a picture of everybody who knew and loved my father holding hands, and laughing and celebrating, because my father's was a life to celebrate. Um, there's so many things going through my head because I'm fortunate enough that my father was able to live to his 80s, and I'm 50, very close to be 51. So we've spent a lot of years together, and we've had our differences, but that never stopped me ever from loving you, Dad. And I showed it the best I could, and I know I could have done better, but I loved you, and you really taught me so much, and I'm just happy that you're not suffering anymore, because for the man that I always knew you to be, and the father I always knew you to be, you got hit hard by this, and you trooped through it the best you could. And I know you're not the type who ever wanted to rely on anyone or be beholden to anyone. You're very independent, very strong, all the way till the end, this end. And I'm gonna really miss you, Dad. War stories we always had. The cicada hole over here. I don't think it's active. And again, we're gonna have a service more traditional for you when this blows over, and we become all better for it, hopefully. And for now, I'm gonna say goodbye. And I know you're laughing with Uncle Larry right now. You have to. I know you are, and that makes me feel good. That I know you're in such a better place than you were, and you so deserve it. And with all the uncertainty and everything that's going on right now in this world, one thing is certain: you touched a lot of people. You spread a lot of love. You're certainly not going to be forgotten. You're going to be remembered, and you're going to be celebrated. And that's your legacy. And you were one of the good guys, for sure. And I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to say anything? Okay. There will also be an opportunity tonight at 7 o'clock on Zoom. We'll have a virtual Shiva, and I will offer the opportunity for people to speak then as well. Meanwhile, I'm going to say a few words now. I have had the privilege of knowing Myron for only just the last couple of years. And I only have had a few substantial conversations with him, and those were all in a hospital or a rehabilitation center. Despite that, I only knew him after he was already ill. I saw in him what everyone who knows him sees in him: a kind, good, caring person. And I know how deeply he was dedicated to Temple life. He was a past president, and he was a pillar of the community in so many ways for so many years. And this week, Mona and Aaron and David, we all had a chance to talk, so I learned some things I didn't know, and I'm just gonna share some of that. Myron loved his family. and family was super important to him. Not only family get-togethers to recognize holidays, but from the time he was 20 or 21, he worked in the family business and then took it over together with his brother Larry of blessed memory. He ran the business for almost 40 years, bringing you two, his own sons, into it until Aaron took it over. Are you the third generation? Or does it go back even further?
It goes back to my grandfather, to my father, and my uncle's father, Daniel. He started Best Way in Coney Island, and then Uncle Larry came in I think the 60s, and then my father came in, and then my father and my uncle bought the business themselves and became partners until 1999, and that's when I became the first sole owner, if you could say that, David. Like the first sole Klein to have it. But it's been in our family since 1946. So,
yeah. And so that's amazing that it keeps going that way. And you told me how you learned from your dad's sense of responsibility and dedication, how to prepare for the future, and that your dad showed by example how to treat everyone the same, regardless of race or ethnicity or gender or anything. He treated everyone with equal respect. He wasn't just involved in the synagogue, he was also involved in the broader community. He sponsored a little league team and he was active in the Coney Island Association. He was involved with civil rights and advocating for equality, not just talking, but doing. And although he was tall and potentially intimidating, he was very approachable. Pride never got the better of him. He would talk to anyone, anytime, about anything. He felt the need to help anyone who asked him for help, and he did it just for the sake of helping, not for money or for praise. He just wanted to help from his heart. And when he dedicated himself to something, he saw it through to the end. Ever since he was born in 1937 in Brooklyn, he could not imagine living anywhere else. He was Brooklyn to the core, even though he was a Yankees fan and not a Dodgers fan. Most of his life was spent working in Coney Island and living in Kensington and then on Avenue U. He loved sports and was a kind of a sports historian. He had a lot of knowledge and recollection, and he could talk about sports for hours. Aaron, you told me that Myron was also a sun worshiper. He didn't swim, but he kept his beach chair in the trunk of his car with the pesticide chemicals. And on Saturdays, after his rounds were done, usually early, he'd go to the office, do some paperwork, and then he'd go up the block to the Coney Island boardwalk and sit on the beach for a few hours, soaking up rays. Myron met Mona initially because he was friends with her husband, and they joined the Knights of Pythias together. And unfortunately, Mona's husband, his friend, died. And about 7 years later, a friend of Mona's urged her to go out with Myron, but she demurred. And then she says, well, yeah, then we started spending time together, and he got her more involved in temple life. And next thing anybody knew, they were a couple. Mona said that she and Myron had different interests, but they found that they were very compatible anyway. Mona told him, if you come to the opera with me, I'll go to the sports with you. And that's what they did. Mona became a basketball fan, and Myron began to enjoy opera, which he had not imagined was a thing that would possibly ever happen. Mona says he was so dependable, a kinder person you could never meet. He was always waiting to do someone a favor. He wanted to do favors for people. He did it with such love and an open heart. We were best friends, good companions for 22 years. My children and grandchildren adored him. Mona says that everyone who knew Myron felt like they were his best friend. He paid attention to people. He showed them that he was interested in them and cared about them. It's been a while since he was able to participate fully in temple life, and his absence has certainly been felt. And now he will be missed all the more so. I will tell you that a call went out from our newsletter editor for people to send in tributes for Myron to be published in the temple newsletter. She asked for them to be sent in by Friday. Within hours, she had 10. Who knows how many she's going to have by Friday. And so this is just a little bit about Myron. We'll talk more about him tonight at the Shiva. He lives on in the hearts and the memories of the many, many people whose lives he has touched, the very many people who love him. And so may his memory always be a blessing, and may we be better people because of him. God, you give us loved ones and make them the strength of our life, the light of our eyes. They depart and leave us bereft on a lonely way, but you are the living fountain from which our healing flows. To you, the stricken look for comfort and the sorrow laden for consolation. Oh God, we see life as through windows that open on eternity. We see that love endures and the soul endures as you, oh God, endure forever. We see that the years are more than grass that withers, more than flowers that fade. They weave a timeless pattern in a world that is the dwelling place of your love and glory. We continue with our memorial prayer, El Malay Rachamim. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Myron Klein, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. El Malay Rachamim Shochen Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Utehorim Kazar Harakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Meir Ben Daniel V'Palin Shehalach Le'olamo Bal Harachamim Yastirehu B'Seter Kinafav Le'olamim Ve'yitzror v'yitzror hachayim et nishmato Adonai hu nachalato Ve'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo Ve'nomar Amen. May Myron Klein come to his eternal home in peace. Al Mekomo Yavo B'Shalom. And now for the first time, we'll say the mourner's Kaddish for Myron. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Ve'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh V'chayachon u'b'yomechon u'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael Ba'gala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu Le'elam min chol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran b'alma v'yimru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael V'Amru, Amen. May the source of peace send peace to you who are mourning, and to all of the bereaved and all who love Myron wherever they may be. And let us say, Amen. And now we perform the last mitzvah, the last commandment that we can do for Myron's earthly body, and that is to put some earth into his grave and begins the process of burying him. So if you would like to let me get out of the way. Here, do you want to go closer so you can kind of look here?
Provided. Yeah. Had paramount. I always come prepared. Challenging business. If you don't want to use the shovel, you can use your hands or your feet.
There's no way any virus is getting on that. After all I've used it for, it doesn't stand a chance.
We referred to Myron as Melvin because
He would have preferred that, trust me.
he would have preferred it. Right. And he
Myron,
was a silly guy, and we found Melvin a silly name. And so we referred to him as Melvin.
it's like my mother always had to find the one name that no one ever thought I would be named. I know, I still to this day don't know any others.
Go your way, for God has called you. Go your way, and may God be with you. May your righteousness go before you, and the glory of God receive you. May God console you with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. Hamakom yenechem etchem betoch sha'ar avele Tzion b'Yerushalayim. Our service is concluded. Just show. Okay. So I will see you tonight
Yes.
at 7 o'clock on Zoom. You can forward the link to anybody you want.
We will. Thank you.
I forwarded the link to a few people who are not members of Temple now,
Perfect.
who were part of Shalom.
Perfect.
Part of the,
Yes, yes, okay.
You can